Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with two comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
What's up, the internet? It's Kyle. How you doing? For those of you who don't know, I'm the executive producer here on The Experience, and I've been in this chair for 9 days, bringing you the EXP Expo 2022, the one with all the twos, which is a great name because names are hard. But I am so excited to turn the next hour over to some great friends of mine. We've got Joey Galvez and Ambrosia. They are, you know them from the Wednesday Warriors.
What's up?
How's
it going?
Yeah, in the Scout Comics social media, like gurus. Like Joey was just telling me how I should do our social media better because I'm terrible at it.
That is not true. That is absolutely not true.
He was. And we're actually joined already by one of the head honchos, one of the three people who are supposed to be joining us. James Haick is here.
Cheers, everybody.
Hey. Say it, and he appears. Here's Charlie Stickney.
Hey.
How's it going, guys?
I'm going to take off and let these guys talk about Scout Comics. And then, if I fall asleep, Joey, just yell.
All right, you got it. Thanks again, Kyle. You are awesome. And welcome to our panel. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal, Ambrosia. We are your Wednesday Warriors. And we're here, like Kyle said, we're joined with James Haick and Charlie Stickney. We're hopefully going to be joined with Andrea, Lorenzo, Molinari. As I say that, he's jumping in the chat.
Here.
How's it going? And welcome, Andrea. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. First of all, James, dude, how's it going, dude? You guys got so much going on over at Scout already in the first month. Talk to us a little bit about what's been going on lately with Scout, please.
I've just been kind of the par for the course, been growing exponentially. We've been dealing with industry-wide issues, right, Charlie? And Andrea. And I've already said it multiple times this year, and people are probably going to get sick of me saying this, but the motto of this year is turning lemons into lemonade, because that's how we've started the year, and we've been making some pretty good lemonade. That's the bottom line. So it's been busy. Things are calming down, but it's like a new type of busy. So I think that's just going to be the new norm, quite honestly. But we have a lot of exciting things. Again, just Charlie checked his email. He saw it, but we should have a pretty big announcement coming in February, knock on wood, right, Charlie?
Yeah, we certainly hope so.
Yes,
awesome.
It looks very promising. And I think comic fans all around will love what we have in store for 2022. For sure.
So you guys are not going to give us any little tidbits about that email at all?
No.
Well, let's. I will say this,
Charlie. I'll leave it up to you.
I'll just say this. You wish you knew what this email was. Does that help?
No, not at
you know,
all.
okay. Let me just follow it up with. We also have a couple other announcements that we're going to be making later in the year that are almost maybe equally exciting, maybe more exciting, about some other creators who are going to be joining Scout, who I'm also not going to talk about. Because no. The thing is, like, I need to have more of James's lemonade, because James does make some of the best lemonade out there, and it has a kick to it. And if you have too much of James's lemonade, then your lips get really loose in terms of what's
for
coming
some
out.
reason my lemonade sometimes turns this color. I'm not sure why,
but
still
like,
delicious.
That does not look like Dr. Pepper.
Yeah,
No.
it's special lemonade. Like, but I would say, like, with a lot of these things, you know, we're in the contract stages right now, and it's very exciting for us as a company. But you know, you want to make sure everything is signed, so you're not blabbing things out and then everyone looks bad afterwards. But you know, we're trying to bring some more established people to Scout right now, to help buttress, you know, the new rising talent, because I think, you know, one of the things that we do well as a company is we help with the spotlight on new talent. But if you can bring in some more established people, and we have in the past year with Carl Kiesel, you know, like bringing people in who have an established fan base into the company, it helps bring more eyes to those creators who are just getting started. So, you know, I think, like, as a company, we never want to not stop highlighting those new voices. But at the same time, if we can bring in some of the more established voices to help build up the fan base of the company and really do something exciting with them, you know, you're able to help everyone at the same time. So, you know, I'm very excited about some of the people we're getting to work with in 2021, 22.
What's that old saying? The high tide raises all ships. That's essentially what it is. It's the reason that's a cliche. It's very spot on. But yeah,
okay, fine. It's Jim Davis. We're doing Garfield. No. Okay.
You know what? I would like that. I would like that a lot, actually.
Garfield metal covers. Garfield metal keychains.
There you go.
Garfield metal calendars. Yes.
We're coming out with cat
I
litter.
am very
Garfield cat
gullible.
litter.
I will be like promoting like Garfield and then be like, wait, but Charlie told me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad move. So awesome. Go ahead.
When will we be seeing some of these announcements come 2022? So I know for sure February.
Yep.
Well, and technically February is like a weekish away. So are we like a week away?
I would say we're probably about a month.
Okay.
30 days.
Okay. I mean,
and this is 30 days.
This is the other thing, is you want to time your announcements to when there's something that's actionable. So if we have an announcement, hopefully it coincides with something that people could start ordering. You know, like you see that sometimes, like, the retailers want to work with us. They want to promote things. And it's really hard for them if we have a big announcement and then people rush into their store. Where can I get this book? And they're like, I don't know. And then a couple of weeks go by and, you know, then the interest goes away. And it's hard to get those people to come back in to order the store. So we're trying to be really smart about this. So when we make an announcement, it coincides with something being available for someone to pre-order, so they can say, oh my God, Scout is doing this cool thing. I'm going to go get it. And I'm going to tell my shop that I want to get this thing.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
There's a few programs too. Like I want to, Charlie came up with this amazing idea. Can we reveal this idea, the pop-up idea, Charlie? Is that okay?
Yeah. I mean,
all right.
I think it's absolutely genius. So Charlie came up with an idea with one of the shops out in the California area where Charlie's at, about doing pop-up days. So Scout would come, one of us like owners or back office staff would basically set up shop at that comic store for the day and basically pitch Scout comics. And we call it the pop-ups. We're going to have like a little, like we're going to do some marketing behind it, but it's a really, really good idea where it really helps the store, because we're going to do some profit splits with them while we're out there, but also really focuses on that one day. It's almost like a pop-up convention.
Yeah.
But I think it's an absolutely genius idea. So the store can build around and get fans there. And then basically we give them a cut of whatever we bring and just help spread the word of Scout. I think
it's no risk to the store. It's an event for the store that hopefully brings in some Scout fans and brings some new fans to Scout. So, you know, that the goal is to make it win-win. and just to help us help the stores and increase everyone's visibility.
And we were spitballing. We do a lot of spitballing here at Scout, and one of the things that we're looking into is, and this could be a breaking exclusive or it could be nothing, but to try to do a pop-up cover for these pop-up events where it pops up. But we're not sure if that's possible or capable. But wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be really interesting, and that's why I love talking to you guys a little bit about this stuff, because there's you guys have so many innovative ideas and all these things. You're thinking outside of the box. So why is it that you guys feel you have to think outside of the box and go these different ways? You guys brought in comic tags. You guys started doing the subscription boxes and things of that nature. Why?
Well, I would go with why not?
That's
like at the end of the day,
not?
it's like the industry has been functioning on a certain trajectory for a long time, and people are constantly having the conversation: are comics dying? Are they not dying? What's the next evolution of comics? But I think the important thing to remember is, everything is evolving. It's not just comics; it's the way we sell everything. It's the retail experience. Bookstores are changing, and it's important to move with the times. And I love comic book shops, but you see the ones that are succeeding are the ones that have evolved. And I think publishers also need to evolve, and they need to offer shops more ways that we can be better partners. We need to find ways to go directly to fans. So it's just the natural progression of business. You should never be static. You should never do things the way things have been done for 20 years. You should try things, and if they don't work, you throw them out. But you should always try things.
Yep.
That's my philosophy anyway.
So when I went to business school at UCF, it's Central Florida, any person who enters the business school had to take 2 courses. At the beginning, they took this course called Cornerstone, which was 6 credits. And before you graduated, you took this course called Capstone. And both of the criteria or the curriculum was about this author's book. Have you ever heard of Stephen Covey?
No.
It's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And then I believe I butchered that, but it's along those lines. And the other ones, if it's not broke, break it. And I've always applied, and I think Scout in general has applied to that, is always look to improve, right? Be ahead of the game, like a chess game, right? You always want to think 3 moves ahead, and that's what we've been doing. And quite honestly, I think that's a big reason for our success, is constantly, if it's not broken, break it. Not in a bad way, I understand, but in a way of just trying to think out of the box and be like, how can we improve? If we're always thinking about improving and not staying static, I think that's a success of any company, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in. I think that's a huge.
Well, and I think it's great, because then we have people like Andrea who help us make sure things are fixed too, right? He's going into those titles, and he's making sure that those titles that we have coming to us are in the right, we're making sure those are not broke. We're making sure they fit the market. I mean, if you want to talk about that, Andrea, at all.
Yeah, Andrea, from the editorial side of things, how are you looking at it from a different perspective? These guys are being innovative with all the ideas on how to sell these things, but you're one of the guys that's looking at these things and saying, okay, with this, maybe you're the last stop that these books hit before they move on into through the doors. So how are you doing that from your perspective?
Well, I guess the first thing I would tell you is I think that the submissions committee for Scout has done a good job of giving us good products, our editorial staff, good products to work with. We have really good creators, intelligent people, passionate. I mean, it almost goes without saying in this field that that you better be passionate, otherwise you won't survive. But we definitely have that. And I feel like we have a good variety of stories that we're developing. I mean, I'm just thinking of some of the titles, like off the top of my head, that have the pleasure to work with. We have one called Captain Suave.
Oh yeah.
And this is there is an ash can out there already for this. But it's basically the story of a homeless man living in Cleveland who imagines that he's a superhero. And the way that the illustration has been done, it's the same artist, but the artist does these watercolors, hand-done watercolors for Cleveland, which, by the way, the story takes place in Cleveland in the winter. And if you ever grew up in the Rust Belt, and I did, I came from Michigan, I can assure you that there's a very specific look for a Rust Belt town in winter. Okay, and it ain't good. But the watercolors really kind of capture that kind of, that kind of character of the city, especially the downtown area. And meanwhile, when he's in his like kind of manic mode, where he's imagining himself to be a superhero, it kind of goes back to this retro look to it. And it's an extremely powerful book. It's very funny, but at the same time, it also makes you cry. It makes you kind of rage against the machine. It makes you think. And I love that. I love that book. And then there's another book we have coming out that it just came live. Charlie actually sent the link yesterday, Triskill. And Triskill is put together by a team from Brazil, artist and writer from Brazil. And it is all about, it's seeped in Celtic mythology. And it is extremely good story, very engaging about teenage kids, two boys, two girls, being kind of like taken from one realm to another realm, time travel, encountering various mythological characters out of the Celtic mythology. I mean, it's a really, really good book. And then you have books, that we put out, things like Metal Shark Bro, and when I'm pitching that, at the shows, I'm like, okay, if you're expecting anything serious, this would not be that book. There is not a serious bone this body of this book, but it's a lot of fun and people really respond to it. And it features, the artwork of Walter Ostley, who I just think, Walter I regard as a very good friend and an incredible talent. And have that, have his art, kind of like featured in that book is just, so there's a whole spectrum. I mean, you've got the horror, you've got sci-fi, there's something for everybody's taste. And I think that's a strength.
No, really? Most definitely. And I think that's what kind of sets you aside from other comic book companies is the diversity of artists, of creators, of readers, anywhere from the Black Caravan to the Scoot imprint, and everything in between, that there is literally a comic for everybody. And I think as the comic book community, that's what we need. And that's what gets readers in the store and into the community.
Absolutely. I think that the genre of the graphic novel or the comic book, I mean, history has proven that any type of literature can be done in that format, and I think all too often we kind of think very one track, especially in the United States, is this idea of superhero equals comic book. And that, that's only one equation. It's not the equation. It's just one.
That's
but
I think that's changed a lot over the past 10 years. That used to be like the norm, but it's starting. I mean, really, thanks to Walking Dead, when people found out that was a comic book, and it really started converting like, oh, there's other non-superhero comic books. And of course, we fell into that sliver for a minute. It's like it's either superhero or zombies, but then eventually they found out it's like there's so much more.
Right. You could even have a comic book about a cat eating lasagna. I'm just saying, spitballing again. You can do anything with this genre.
He's really trying to get that one over
jokes
here.
around, but you know what? I'm going to reach out to Jim Davis. I believe he passed away. We should reach out to his estate.
That's a better idea. Is reach out to his estate.
Yeah, less creepy.
This needs to be written by Charlie too. Charlie, you gotta take over on that one.
So one thing I want to say really quick publicly is, and I don't know if I've said this, but Andrea being the head of the editorial department, Andrea's background is teaching. And if we had a softball team, on the back of his jersey, his nickname would be Papa Bear, because he looks about everybody, all the teams that he's assigned. He looks at them like his children. And he genuinely cares. It doesn't matter what the genre is.
They drive me crazy.
Yes, they do drive me
crazy.
I
do love him.
But I mean,
he also hates it when people sit in his chair. So I'm just saying.
Yes, do not sit in his chair. That's the only warning. But he is such a fantastic human being, and everybody who works with him, I think, says the same thing. So
I'm going to have to be nice to everybody.
You have to be nice to everybody.
Exactly.
Sure you do.
Yeah, I think it's true, and then I think it goes even further. Anybody who is in front of him, he treats them the same way. And
he does.
So, yeah,
he's the true Papa Bear of Scout. And then I love Charlie's nickname too, Stickman. That would be the back of your jersey, Charlie.
That's right. Because I think all good comics start with stick figures. Right? you need to have that armature down, the underlying structure
Yes.
of both the figures and the storytelling, the bones. So it just comes back to those sticks.
And word has it that Jim Davis is still alive. So
Going to be a lot easier, Jim.
Good.
Oh, that's great. Much easier.
David wants to know: is he the only one that Andrea's mean to?
Probably,
Actually,
David.
I will tell you this: is David is not on here like visually, so I can say this. David is incredibly wise, and the more I work with him, the more I respect him. He's a hell of a guy.
Yep.
And whenever I need an answer, that is the man to go to. I find he gets answers, and he knows a lot of stuff. So I'll take the teasing. But I got nothing but respect for David. Nothing but respect for him.
No, I think I know why he's mean to him. He's still upset that David left the Talking Heads. And I understand. I'm a little perturbed as well. But other than that, he's fantastic. Maybe one day he will reunite. But that might cost us, like, he's our co-publisher. That could cost Scout. So I'm torn.
On the other hand, we'll get backstage passes, so.
You would think. Well, you're mean to him, so maybe not.
Exactly. Probably not me.
Okay, so I need to know. So why is it that you guys surround yourself with a lot of guys like this? A lot of guys who are champions in their own rights. Because every time I talk to you guys always got something new going on, something amazing that it's not stale anymore. Like comic books, I almost say it, and it's gonna be bad. Sometimes they get a little stale and things get. So how do you guys keep that going?
Just surround yourself with like-minded individuals. I think that's the bottom line, and just leave yourself open so you can, no pun intended, Andrea, shepherd ideas, right? You don't be a gatekeeper, be a shepherd.
That felt like that was too easy. That's low flank.
I mean, that was, thanks, Joey. I mean, that was like a volleyball, you set me like.
I would say, I think a lot of what we have going for us with Scout is that I think people genuinely like working with each other. I think we have a lot of good chemistry, and we do bang heads. I mean, it's not like we don't, but at the same token, there's that sense that the other person's fighting hard to try to make Scout successful. And at the end, even if you disagree, you're like, well, gotta love the fight, gotta love the guy or gal who's willing to stand in there and argue for their position. You got to respect that. You really do. And that all of us are creators. All of us are trying to do this ourselves. And I think deep down, if you do this long enough, you realize you really don't have many answers. I mean, that's what I'm convinced of. I've only been doing it since 15 in terms of like published since 15. And I feel like I know nothing, Jon Snow. I really don't.
It's like just when you find the answers, there's more questions.
No, it's ridiculous. It's like, the writing is the easy part.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
That's what I've heard repeatedly, that the writing is the easy part. It's everything else in between that.
I'm just grateful.
Yeah, we don't need any more writers. Right. We don't. Writers unimportant. We'll just push those to the side. Super easy. I just no. But I think getting back to the point, one of the things that I like about Scout is that the company tries to be very creator friendly, right? And I think that's always a balance that you're trying to do with running a business. But when you're a business of artists, you're trying to walk that line and do the right things by people, right? And if you're a new creator coming to Scout, sometimes it's a little difficult because you've never had guidance before. So, giving guidance where you're not stepping on creative toes can be difficult, but you also want the books to sell. So, sometimes, like when we're working with a creator, it feels like we're butting heads, but I'm like, look, I'd really like people to read your book. And if you make these choices, no one's going to read it. And so that's the experience that I can bring and try to pass on to people. But there's only, because that we do create our own books, ultimately it's the creator's call. So, I think that's one of the things that keeps it fresh is that we have a lot of different voices coming into the company. And because we have a lot of miniseries, the the identity of the company in some ways keeps shifting a little bit, because for a year it's all about it eats what feeds it and grit, and but that was like 2020, and then 2021 all of a sudden we're about steak and Phantom Star Killer and the recount, and then we'll shift into something else going next year. So while we have a company brand and an identity, and we're working with new creators and established creators and helping them break ground and find new places to go with their art, the momentary identity of Scout, I think, shifts a little bit, and that keeps it fresh.
Yeah, I like that you brought up the identity, because the identity of Scout Comics is one of those ones that out there that is vastly different from other ones, and that's not just because we work for Scout, but it's because I hear things and I speak to other creators. And the other day I was in an interview with a creator, and they said, I love Scout because they are one of the only creators, one of the only publishers out there that don't continuously publish the same exact creator over and over and over and over again. They have fresh people, fresh creators coming in and out, and I think it's true. So how do you guys feel the identity of Scout Comics is from your perspective, as as people inside the business? What is the identity of Scout?
I think when I first started, because I have a little bit more tenure than Charlie and Andrea, is that Andrea especially, well, both of them actually, both Charlie and Andrea, we've been doing conventions promoting our own book for a long time. And on the convention circuit, you would see a lot of like-minded creators, amazingly talented creators that the big companies were not looking. And there was literally an indie comic revolution happening, and no one was really seeing it. I think why and how Scout has thrived is we've all come together. And what about Scout, it's not a particular genre per se, but it's like quality storytelling, art and story and many different genres. And that's what's great. And I've heard the same thing about how we don't just publish our own stuff. We're always constantly looking for established and new talent, and putting more eyeballs on it and taking their amazing stories and trying to make, quite honestly, as many revenue streams as possible, so they can continue to make these creators these revolutionizing stories. And really the bottom line, I would say too, is that we're comic fans, all of us who work behind the scenes, and we're just trying to produce stuff that we ourselves would buy on every Wednesday at the comic shop. That's really the bottom line. So it's very cool. It's like, would I buy this? Yes. Would this be on my pull list? Yes. So that's really where it comes down to. And then creating like cool collectibles, like stuff that you want to have, where it's really, that just create cool stuff.
Well, and I also think, we're filled with a whole bunch of books that no one knows about that are good, right? Yeah. Like that's at the end of the day, that's, I think where you have like the Scout title, we're helping you find those really great stories and creators that you would have never found otherwise, unless you happen to be in Illinois, because that's where they live, and they do a circuit of comic book conventions there. Or, you live in Montana, and that's where that creator lives, and maybe they drive a state away and they do, an extra show a year where they go to Boston. I don't know. Like, if you don't find these people on the circuit, you'd never find them, and they're making these great books. So we're helping you find those great creators that you wouldn't normally know about, but are worth putting up against any of the other books that are being published at a comic book shop, but they just haven't had the chance. And so we're helping you find those people.
Yep. And by the way, we love comics in general. So just because like other companies, we don't, I personally, and I think I speak for the two of them as well. Like, I don't view the like Aftershocks and the Vaults and the Booms as competition. We're comic fans. A healthy industry is healthy for every company.
Yeah. I love that.
So just publicly, it's just, we want to provide these great stories and get more eyeballs on them, and always are looking for ways to get more eyeballs on them, whether it's through digital, whether it's through comic shops, whether it's through direct. I mean, we're just always open to ideas of, what I love about, like, obviously there's been a seismic shift in how comic shops order comics. And I really think we've been ahead of the curve where, we tell shops all the time, right, Charlie, where it's basically, you can order direct from us. You can go through Diamond. You can go through Lunar. We just want to make it easy for you to get our books. Simple as that. So whatever's each shop is different on how they want to do it, and just providing options, I think, is always key. And we just have done a really good job, and hopefully continue as this whole industry changes. I mean, there's been a huge seismic change in the past 2 years. Part of it was led from the pandemic, but it's very fascinating what's going on. I would think that we're healthier. Would you guys think that we're healthier overall?
I think what you're losing, and I hate to say this, I don't want to say anybody's business is a dead weight.
Yeah.
But, like the stores that were not as financially stable had a really hard time. The ones that aren't adjusting had a really hard time. So I think we've lost some stores that maybe we lost them sooner than they would have gone under because of the pandemic, because it's changed a lot of people's shopping habits. So if your store is not a destination, if people aren't willing to overcome, waiting in line to get in because they're only allowing X number of people in the shop at once, if you're not willing to do curbside pickup at your store. So if you didn't have loyalty to your shop, and if your shop didn't pivot and say, here are some new things, ways of doing, business, they might not still be around. But I think the shops that stayed, the ones that are thriving now, are ones that are in it for the long haul, because if they were able to survive this, who knows, like they're there for, for the future, because they have a really solid fan base and they can shift to different circumstances. So those are the ones that everyone should trying to be put, their weight behind as publishers. And if you're a fan and you're lucky enough to have one of these great stores in your neighborhood, let them know how much you love having them and how much you love having Scout Comics in their shop.
Definitely.
No, very much so. And I think, something that you guys have done differently too is it being so accessible for comic readers and collectors to get your comics, such as like the subscription boxes, the battle damage boxes, the deluxe mystery boxes. I feel like the boxes are something that you don't see typically in a lot of comic shops, and a lot of people get excited for them. Do you guys have any other additional boxes that we might be seeing in the future? I know our title boxes are amazing. But I know,
we definitely do. Like, put an order in. Again, the paper shortage, ladies and gentlemen, is very real. But finally, we're getting a box order in. I should get it in the next, I'd say here in Florida, next 2-3 weeks. But we're gonna have a mystery box full of web store exclusives that we do for a lot of our titles. We're gonna have a mystery box full of VHS variants, which is a cool little program that we did. We're going to have a holofoil box, a metal box. So we're doing these curated boxes. And part of the idea where it came from, quite honestly, is doing conventions. So I remember, those
mystery boxes, right?
Yeah, the Mario with a question mark. I remember going, like
everybody walking around with them. They're like, what is that?
Walking around to them, like this one place. I don't remember the name of it, but they were pretty much at every convention, right? And it was a mountain of question marks. By when you start, and then at the end, it was maybe at the worst case scenario, a small hill, or like nothing, like just like driving through Iowa, kind of plain. So it's just, people love that mystery element, make it fun, right? And we've done a lot of really cool things on the Whatnot. That's kind of changed. Comic Book Shopping Network, which is where the experience came from, who's putting on this expo. I mean, a lot of it came from the pandemic, right? Like adjusting. Turning lemons into lemonade. Again, I told you guys you're going to get sick of that.
And I'll say, I'm going to break a special new box that we're going to do. It's called the Mustache Box.
The Mustache?
It's a premium box, and James will actually deliver it to your house. But you have to pay.
Will he wring out all of his beard oil?
No.
That's how it's
but it comes with a glass of lemonade and the box, and James brings it by hand.
Well, a packet of lemonade, Charlie. Let's be honest. We want it to last.
Okay. Like we're not that fancy and stuff.
Me and Andrea were making fun of that earlier today. We were talking about the how hardcore is James's mustache routine.
32,000 for the mustache.
There you go. And I was telling him, hey, facial hair regimens are a real thing, man.
I'll share this with everybody.
It doesn't
free plug.
There you go.
Fisticuffs wax. It's I prefer the teal wood because it smells just delightful.
Yes, you know what I do? I just go super cheap and I just use fractionated coconut oil.
Ooh.
I'm telling you, dude, it keeps it nice and fluffy and a nice sheen. It's I'm telling you.
Ambrosia, I feel like you and I are left out of this
I
conversation.
know. I was gonna say I will try that.
Sure.
So I have a question for the two of you, and I've been wanting to ask this for a long time.
Okay.
What was your first experience with Scout? Like, how did you pick it up at a store? Did someone tell you? Like, what was? We can start with ladies first. Ambrosia, like, where did you first learn about us?
So Joey, he introduced me to my first independent comic book in general.
Okay.
I've been a comic book reader since I was in high school. And Joey noticed that I never mentioned anything about independent comics. And he was like, you should really give them a go. I think you might like them. And then I had a couple followers send me some comic books, the Ice Cream Man, just random things. And one of them was a Scout comic. And I read it. And then Joey was like, oh, I love Scout. Let me talk to you about them. And from there, I have been reading more independent than the big two. And even I'm also a teacher, and being able to bring those comics into my classroom has been amazing. Like the Unicorn, Stanley the Snowman, all of those, like bringing comics into the classroom is something that I really strive on, and being able to do that.
We need to get you some Frontiers for your class.
Oh, yeah.
What do you teach? What grade level?
I teach 6th through 8th grade language arts.
It'd probably be a little too low for them.
Yeah, too little.
Okay, so oddly enough, I teach special ed. So most of my students are about a 2nd to 4th grade reading level.
Would you?
So
have you seen
that in itself has been really, really cool, because trying to get them to read in itself is a whole nother thing. And so my classroom is just filled with comics because of the pictures. And going back to how much graphic novels have changed, they're turning Anne of Green Gables into a graphic novel. Like this book that I used to love by Scott Westerfield, like they turned into a graphic novel. They are just reinventing everything, which has been so amazing. And so trying to teach others in the world that literature is also in comic books has been really fun.
Well, let us know. We'll send you some for your class. The Frontiers, or if just our catalog. So just let us know.
Sweet, thanks.
Yeah. What about you, Joey? Wait, first, what was the comic that you sent Ambrosia?
I don't. What was it, Ambrosia? What did I send you?
You gave me a list to read.
Okay, but do you remember? I don't know if you have that. I can't remember it. I think it was I think for sure. I know It Eats What Feeds It was probably on there, because that at that time that was my biggest favorite at that time. So I know
it
had to
was
be
something that you interviewed someone with, because that's how I also got introduced to the House of Indie. Yeah,
probably. So that's it was literally because I do the interviews and stuff, and I was like, well, I'm gonna start looking for some guys. But before that, I was a huge like Ambrosia. I was a huge Marvel DC fan. I was even on a podcast for a Batman podcast, and we talked about Batman stuff. We reviewed them. We talked about every week, every book that came out from Batman. We talked about it, and I started getting really tired of the superhero stuff. So I started to kind of venture off into the indies and stuff. And I started to find Source Point Press, and then I started finding Scout, and I was like, well, I'm going to start reaching out to these people. And I think I messaged like the Scout page, and I think it was Charlie who got back to me. And he said, yeah, here's sign up to our list. I got on the list, and I started looking more stuff. And but the one book that I read was, obviously it was Metal Shark Bro that got me into it. But from there, from the moment that Charlie said, "Here's jump on our list," everything started coming to me. I was like, I freaking love this company. Like, why have I not heard about them before? And history was made. Like, I can't quit you guys.
You can't.
No, and that's been really cool, is that I podcast a lot, and I'm part of like this cute little TikTok community of comic book readers, and a lot of them are mainly like the big two. And so when like we talk about like on our weekly pool, and I'm like, but have you read this from Scout? And also, and then like so many of them like have no idea like the separate world, well, not separate world, but like the other side of the big two. and like their stories. And it has been really, really cool to continue to come back and talk with these guys, and having them read like their first indie book to now having like their weekly pull list just continue to grow of more of these indie books and more of these scout books. So that has been really cool to see storytelling within these groups. And I missed something because you all laughing.
David Byrne, this is a family show. My family is downstairs watching me on the big screen right now. I'm just glad that my kids can't read, not even my 11-year-old. No, just kidding. I'm sorry. Hey son, I love you. Ezekiel, you're awesome.
I do love seeing, I'm seeing in the chat a bunch of different people who've had different first scout books. And it's really great to see, from like Hench Girl, which I think was actually the very first scout book, to, you know, like there's a Solar Flare, there's the Mall. And so, you know, it's great that there's a lot of different jumping on points. Joey and David, I hope you guys both won't be too upset if we do a Batman book in the future. I'm not saying we were. I'm not making that announcement, but I don't want you to be too upset if all of a sudden we had that license. James,
is it a Batman Garfield crossover?
It's kind of like that, yes. You know, lasagna after dark, but you know, but I do think it is great, and depending on like even walking around Los Angeles, because we have a lot of comic book shops here, you know, which we're very fortunate to have. Every comic book shop kind of has a different audience, and so sometimes I will see different sets of scout books at their shops. Like there are some book shops that order mostly Black Caravan, because that suits their readership. Then you'll go into another shop that has a lot of the Scoot titles. Then you'll go into another shop, and you know, and they only have James's titles because, you know, he has some blackmail on them. I don't know what it is, but it's just like but you know, but I think, but that's really great. You know, and then you'll have the ones that are, you know, incredibly discerning shops that have all of our titles. You know, who have the good common sense to order everything. But it is nice that there is such a variety that everyone can have a different type of scout book that becomes their point where they're on-roaded into the greater scout universe.
Awesome. Yes. I just want to know if the next thing that Scout's going to be moving into is beard oil. That's what I want to know. Scout Comics beard oil. You guys are doing the Scouts, the comics on coffee. Why not?
I love that
beard oil
so much. Comics on Coffee has been amazing. And I was going to ask if you guys have your pop-ups, are we going to see some of that come over?
I think that's a great idea. So we just have to, because I know Charlie's going to do some, I'll do some, David will do some. So we'll make sure that they have their coffee. And again, by the way, shout out to Tanya and Tony and how that partnership happened.
Yeah.
They were like 2 miles from HQ here in Fort Myers, and they've been doing it. And Tony, his family used to run like a high-end grocery store on Sanibel Island, which is a really popular like vacation destination here in Florida. Wow. And Tanya is an artist. So they created this whole company based on his love of coffee and her love of art. And we met at a show, and the rest is history. I mean, there's a coffee shop in our HQ here that all you get is their coffee, which, by the way, is really, really good. So we have a lot of partnerships going, again, thinking outside the box. But yeah, we'll make sure that the pop-up shows have those coffee. I don't know if you saw, we just dropped the Phantom Star Killer blend.
Yep.
Yes.
Saw that.
Crystal, I can't pronounce that word. Do you know how to pronounce it?
Cryptocrystalline.
Cryptocrystalline.
You sure that's not what they were cooking up on Breaking Bad?
I'm not commenting on.
Is it weird that the coffee is blue?
Comes about at all.
I am just so glad that my kids don't know these references.
Well, I will say something though. While we're here and we have a bunch of people watching, and you have hopefully a bunch of stores tuning in. You know, I think everyone. This is, you know, again, the running theme of 2021 is paper shortages and shipping, and how they're affecting the schedule. So we're talking about how accessible Scout comics are everywhere, and they're going to be everywhere. So if you go in your shops in the next couple of weeks and you don't see Scout comics, I do want to sort of just say right now that you know, we had a problem getting paper for our books for a couple of weeks, and we'll be going to be basically putting out something next week to tell the retailers the new schedule for our books coming out going forward, so they have a really good roadmap of where that's going to be. So if you're looking for Scout and you're like, hey, you know, I haven't seen Scout for a week or two, I just wanted to sort of say that while some retailers were listening in, We know we're on it. We're taking care of it. And if you're, if you're someone who's like, I'm so excited about this new company that I've just heard about, and you're going in, just know there's a lot of great back issues.
Yes.
From the last couple of months that are probably still on the stands. Well, maybe not too many on the stands, but you can pick up. But I did want to say that, and just this will not just be Scout. There's a lot of companies that are dealing with the same problem.
It's all across the board.
Yeah. So
I've seen other companies. I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I've seen other companies out there who've been putting out announcements saying the same exact thing. So it's all across the board, and rest assured, me and Ambrosia are gonna try to give you guys your fix and pull some of the back issues and talk about them ourselves all over social media. So if you guys are jonesing for some Scout books, make sure you head over to all the socials and we'll talk to you guys. And if there's something you guys want to know about, if there's a genre or something, ask us and we'll talk to you guys. There's some kind of Scout book for that genre, I guarantee it.
Yes,
and there's some amazing books that came out like 2016 through 2018.
Oh yeah,
when we weren't near the company that we are today, that we have ways to get right.
There's one book that I want to talk about that has a really great premise that nobody talks about anymore. Is Crucified.
Oh, so good.
Oh, it's crazy
that
storyline.
Writer Sheldon Allen is such an incredible talent. We've done 3 books now, Charlie. Right? And Andrea,
Concrete Jungle, Snatched, and Crucified.
And I just finally finished Concrete Jungle. I feel bad. When we first came in, I read the first 2, but I completed it, reread the first 2. It is like Quentin Tarantino, like grounded sci-fi. And as a writer, I'm jealous because I'm like, I couldn't do what he did. And then Snatched, about the illegal hair trade.
I love Snatched so much. That was something that I would never even think about. And it was so good.
I just want to know
media wise on Snatched.
I know. I was just wondering if he was using you as the premise for that story. He had to get you that hair from somewhere.
Oh, you like this? I'm growing my hair out again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna have long Thor locks eventually.
It's important to grow it while you have it, James.
Yes,
I know.
This
might be the last hurrah, but it's definitely getting more gray. I would say since
I can tell you that I am extremely younger than you, probably. No, just kidding. But I've got nothing going on up here, man. It's gone. That's why there's a hat on here. So
Joey, I'm 25 years old. How old are you, Joey?
That's me. I'm 25. That's just
we're same age. So we're
25. No, I'm 30. I'm gonna be 38.
All right. Well,
you had to think about that.
I had to think about it because I'm not gonna say when my birthday is and it's coming up. Stop.
I'm the elder statesman here. Charlie's 37, and I believe Andrea is 39. So I'm 42. So the elder statesman.
You're not that old. Oh, it was a bad joke. But
I'm going much younger than James, but we just look worse.
Yes, that's where I'm getting at. We are
years wear on us a lot more.
But one of the cool things about, unfortunately, with the paper shortage, when going back and looking at some of those back issues, is you guys are truly making lemonade out of lemons with your subscription box this month. How you guys are giving out or providing some of those first issues that people haven't seen in a while. So if you are interested in some of those back issues, check out the subscription box that is being sent. I think the last day is the January 25th.
Yeah,
to get some of those titles.
Yeah, great point. We're taking, we curated basically, again, Joey, great idea, buddy, by the way. We curated this subscription box to basically deal with the paper shortage. So we would have a subscription box. And we took a lot of number ones that people didn't, might not have known about that we made available basically. And we did some cool stuff like Richard Rivera came to HQ and we're offering a free comic tag, which is our collectible card. That's also a downloadable PDF on the back of that said card. And he signed, he wants to murder me, I bet. He signed 150 of those. And then we did a Whatnot show where we sold title mystery boxes that had 13 boxes or 13 titles. And we sold 38 boxes. Yeah, let's just say Richard had to extend his stay because of all the different signatures that he had to do. Again, good problem to have. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to catch up on. You have until the 25th for our sub box.
And Zynober it's a great series as well.
Yeah,
Mindbender.
It's Zynober.
Zynober.
Yes. Zynober.
Yeah, it's so good, and I'm gonna actually dig into Zinnober issue 1 this week, talking a little bit about it because that's one of my favorite ones too.
So good, man.
And Ralph Zinn, dude, he's such a cool dude.
He is. He's
Great
I
guy.
got to meet him in New York. He's German.
Yes.
And just such a nice guy. And his fans of Walking Dead. And do you remember that movie Reign of Fire with Matthew McConaughey and Christian Bale?
Yeah.
Remember how disappointing it was? Well, Zinnober's the opposite of that. It's what Reign of Fire should have been.
Oh yeah,
Is Zinnober. And I made this up. I don't know where I made this up, but for the longest time, I thought Zinnober meant cinnamon in German. And I was telling people that, but I was way off. And by the way, my wife gives me crap about it all the time. I took German in high school, and I got straight like A's, 3 years of German. I don't know any German, so and it shows. But Zinnober means, we just looked this up. It means like pathway in German.
Yeah,
not cinnamon. Like I thought.
He's like, pass me the Zinnober.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's clever. The dragons need cinnamon. Way out there.
Okay, you try.
Great title. And by the way, they're working on volume 2 as we speak, right, Andrea? He's going to send you all.
There's going to be a second volume for Zinnober. And
how many issues do you know?
I'm not sure yet what that's going to be, but I since we're talking about Rolf, I do feel like compelled to make a pitch for another piece that he's done, which is called The Impure.
Oh, so good.
And The Impure is very good. It's a sci-fi. It kind of has a bit of a manga vibe to it, a very strong manga vibe. And it's about a brother and a sister that are basically used by an empire as like living weapons. And one of them becomes aware of the way that they're being manipulated and decides to opt out, tries to get her brother to fall to her side of the equation. And so it's a very intriguing story. And the artwork is amazing.
It really is. He's such an incredible talent. Another book I like to talk about real quick, just because I'm going to read it this weekend, but the second volume we just got sent. It's all complete. Red Winter. Have you guys read that one yet?
Yeah.
So good. Remember, do you guys remember that FX show called The Shield?
Yeah.
Michael Chiklis.
Yeah.
It gives me that feeling where like this disgraced New York City Police Department detective basically is disgraced, leaves the department, ends up going to work in Russia for the gang that he used to try to like bust in New York. And he's put into like that Sophie's Choice situation where he has to either help his gang and save his own life or like save his son's life. But they have the sequel that's 4 issues that's complete. So I can't wait to read it. But the first 4 issues is absolutely fantastic.
It is.
Under the Radar series.
Cool.
Really
we have a quick question here, and maybe we'll end here with this one. So I know it's kind of like asking you to pick a favorite child, but which is your favorite Scout title so far?
I'll let Andrea go first. Charlie, you go first.
Because I think it's very difficult, especially if say you're the publisher, to say which of the books is your favorite.
Right.
So I'm not going to say which book is my favorite, especially of any of the current books that are coming out that have come out since I've been working at the company. But I will say that when I was going back through the catalog of things that happened before I came to Scout that I had nothing to do with, Heavenly Blues was a title that I read recently that I was like, oh my goodness, which is like, Ocean's 11, but set in the afterlife, where a bunch of people from hell are going to are breaking into heaven, and they've got a big con game, and they gather the different people on the team. It's excellent.
Fun.
So I won't say that it's my favorite, but that was a title that came from before my time at Scout that I read, and I was like, wow, this is really impressive.
Awesome.
I'm gonna go next.
Go ahead.
And I'm gonna say 3 titles. Right. First, and 2 of them are the creators are on this because I genuinely love them. And here's the thing: White Ash, I do not like fantasy. I just don't. It's never been my cup of tea. But immediately when I read White Ash, I was absolutely hooked. And it has a Fight Club like twist. I think in issue 2, Charlie, correct me if I'm wrong. I know it's. Yeah. I absolutely love it. I call it, and I've said it on multiple interviews, saga. It's our saga. The next one is The Shepherd. Doctor Strange meets the Crow. The powerfulness of Andrea's and Roberto, a father-son team, their writing and how marketable it is and how incredible the story is. Again, it was originally published by Caliber, and I, through hell or high water, I tried to get it through Scout, and that happened. And then the third and final one is Smoketown. I think that's our Breaking Bad, in the sense it's by Philip Kennedy Johnson. By the way, he's now writing Aliens, Action Comics, Captain America. He's just an incredible. He really is the real Captain America. Like he's in the Army, and he's a professional trumpet player for the Army. Like what a gem of a human being. But basically, my pitch for it is like Hurt Locker, told in a Pulp Fiction like storyline. So issue 1's amazing, but issue 2 is, I think, the best single issue comic I've ever read, or at least in the past 10 years.
Yeah,
where it takes issue 1, it makes it that much better, but it's told in a Pulp Fiction like storytelling. But those are my 3.
Cool. Andrea.
Well, I mean, I would echo, Heavenly Blues is an outstanding book. It's one of my favorites, no doubt about it. I had nothing to do with it. I wish I did. And the way I'd pitch it, Charlie, and the way I do pitch it is Ocean's 11 meets Dante's Divine Comedy. That's how I pitch it. Cool. Because it has that heaven, hell, purgatory kind of thing going on. Smoketown, I think, is also just a great book. Yeah. Great book. Yeah. I would tell you, again, I would echo, the White Ash. I really enjoy that. I really do. It's a good book. And I'm not a fantasy reader either. My son is. I'm not, but I really like it. And I will tell you, just as a hint, we've got some books coming out that are in the pipeline. And I'm not going to tell you when, because I don't want to get into trouble.
There's so many secrets.
Well, no, it's if something goes wrong with the paper, it's in the pipeline. They are going to be published, but the paper thing. I would tell you we've got Vanity coming out. It's about the life of Elizabeth Bathory, the Blood Countess. It's written by Yuri Kurnev.
Oh, he did the corset, right?
Yes, he did. And this one is, in my opinion, a masterpiece. It is Elizabeth Bathory bathed in the blood of virgins because she believed that it would keep her young. So she's kind of like the most prolific female serial killer in all history. But the way he writes it, the way he puts her in the context of the history and culture of the time is absolutely brilliant. So that's one to watch out for. I already told you about Captain Suave, which I think it touches every part of the human condition in a really powerful way. And it really should win awards, in my opinion. And then there's another one that's a guilty pleasure of mine called Phantasmagoria. It was written by Juan Torres, and the art is done by Joe Baccardo, who did in the recount, and he did some work for the Shepherd as well.
Comes out in the summer, I believe.
We have, and I'll tell you, that is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
In terms of the quality stuff we have coming. I mean, we really have some amazing books. I could go on for 25 minutes, which I will not do, but in terms of telling you about some of the books that are on the assembly line right now. I mean, we have some incredible talent. The guys have really done a great job, like I said, of isolating and being able to focus in on the submissions that really will make a difference. I'm really excited to work with them. It's a pleasure, really.
The West Moon Chronicles. I'm looking forward to that one a lot. Just seeing some of those
tons of amazing stuff. Ambrosia, quickly before we head out here, can you give us your quick one that you love?
I'm not going to just choose one because there's just been a plethora. I've loved Commander Rao. Fellhound is amazing. I really liked Ranger Stranger, Thud. I can't.
Thud, right? Thud was really impressive.
Really
I
think that needs to be talked about more.
So much.
Oh, he's cool. He's a cool dude too.
Yes, and those colors in general, all of that was just so beautiful. So those were mine that I've read recently. Snatch too. That whole was like mind blowing.
I can go on and on and on about all kinds of my favorites, right? I can talk about all three of your guys' favorite books that I have favorites of, but I'm gonna go with one that I feel is underappreciated, maybe is Terminal Protocol.
Oh.
Good.
So good.
That's old school for those who don't know.
Not a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah.
It's people. So if you guys really want to dig back in the back issues, look up Terminal Protocol. I think it was like a one shot, but it's so good. So good.
Oversized one shot by Jordan. Oh, God, I'll butcher his last name. Is Alice Q.
I have it. Yeah,
and it is just so good, and it's a
underrated.
It's sci-fi underrated. Absolutely. We've been trying. There's another book that he produced. It's like a scoot line. It's like monsters with cooking or something, like cooking with monsters. It's like such a cute idea. But anyways,
cool.
He's a hell of a talent. He's in your neck of the woods, Joey, out in Arizona.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe
I think he's doing a book with Skylar Partridge right now too.
Is he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What book is that?
I don't know. I think it's a sexy spy thriller from my understanding.
By the way, Skylar Partridge, amazing talent.
Yeah.
I know she has a book that just came out with Vol, but she has a book that she's been working on with Christoph and a couple others with us called Volume. That is so freaking cool. We can't wait for it finally to get complete. But Skylar is an amazing artist.
Super cool.
She also just did something for the big Wonder Woman.
That's what it was, Wonder Woman. Charlie,
guys.
Is it on Kickstarter, that book by Jordan?
No, it's not out yet. I think they tweet about it.
Do they? Nice. Well, give me heads up, because again, I'm a fan of both. So
let us all know.
We're a fan of comics, so I want to know about it.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys. This has been fun. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us, talking to us about all the cool new stuff that's coming out with Scout. So please, guys, go check out Scout. If you guys don't know what Scout is, please go head over to scoutcomics.com. Check out all the back issues, all the cool stuff that should be coming out very soon. And if you guys don't know these guys, please follow them all over social media. Kyle, we are ready to head out here, man. If you want to go ahead and give us your closing spiel, we're ready for you, dude. Here we go.
Maybe.
Wait, what I miss?
Hi.
Thanks, guys.
You can close up shop, man.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Stay tuned. Refresh this page. Wherever you are right now, for refresh this page, we'll be right back with Fabrice Sapolsky, which I think I just messed up after I just talked to him about it. But we're going to be right back in just a second here on the EXP Expo.